In the quiet village of Umuoma, nestled between low hills and wide farmlands, the cry of a newborn girl pierced the dawn air. It should have been a sound of celebration. Instead, it was the sound that shattered Okonkwo's heart. His wife, Adoma, lay lifeless on a bamboo bed, her face pale and still, blood staining the wooden mat beneath her. She has given her last breath to bring their daughter into the world. The woman who helped with the delivery cried as she wrapped Adoma's body in a white cloth. Okonkwo stood in silence. He didn't even look at the baby girl, who is at a corner wrapped in a tall piece of clothes, lying in a basket like an orphan. They say the child took her mother's soul, one of the women whispered. Okonkwo's eyes burned with fury. Then she is cursed, he barked. A child that kills her own mother in the womb? She will bring me nothing but sorrow. From that day, Amaka, the child of tragedy, grew up without a mother's warmth or a father's love. She lived in her father's compound like a stranger. Okonkwo rarely spoke to her. When he did, it was to shout, curse, or order her around. Her meals were often leftovers. Her bed was an old mat by the kitchen. She played with shadows, sang to herself, grew used to the bitter stares of her father. Yet, even in sorrows, her eyes sparkled with wonder. She watched the butterfly dance, played with ants, and listened to the wide wind like it was her friend. The villagers pitied her but said nothing. Okonkwo was a proud man, tall, strong, and known for his sharp tongue and quick anger. No one dared to question how he treated his only child. But the God sees everything, and the earth remembers every tear dropped in silence. Amaka turned too, and her world changed. 2 years after Adoma's death, Okonkwo decided it was time to marry again. He claimed it was for the sake of the child, so someone could manage the little wench. But in truth, he was tired of doing anything that reminded him of his late wife. Cooking his own meals, washing his own clothes, seeing the child's face, it made his anger boil. He married a woman named Neka, a widow from the neighboring village who had 2 sons of her own. Neka was beautiful, yes, but her beauty stopped at the surface. Behind her painted smile was a heart hardened by life, sharpened by greed, and soaked in jealousy. At first, Neka pretended to be kind. She bathed Amaka, dressed her hair, and called her my daughter. But once he was settled in the house, her true nature showed. Your eyes are too big, she would say, pinching the little girl's cheeks. Are you trying to seduce my husband? Stay far from him. From that day, Amaka's small mat was moved from the corner of the sitting room to the backyard near the firewood shield. Her clothes were never replaced. Her food became even smaller, and her name was often changed to Onyojochi, child of bad fate. She became the housemaid. Every morning, before the cock crowed, Neka would wake her up with a slap or a kick. Lazy girl, wake up! Go fetch water before the sun wakes. Amaka would rise silently, take the calabash and walk barefooted to the stream. She fetched water, cooked, cleaned, washed, farmed, and still got blamed for every broken plate or burnt soup. Her father? He said nothing. Sometimes he even laughed at Nneka's cruel jokes. Maybe suffering will squeeze the devil out of her, he once said to a neighbor. But Amaka didn't rebel. She didn't run. She endured it in all silence. Her face grew leaner, her hands rougher, her eyes wiser, but her heart still soft. She would sneak out food to beggars, helped old Mama Njideka cross the road. She even told stories to children when they had a free moment, making them laugh with her calm voice. She's like her mother, the old women whispered, too gentle for this world. And so Amaka grew, not like a flower in a garden, but like a rose in crack of a stone wall. The gods watched, but they were not asleep. By the time Amaka turned 20, her name had quietly spread across Umuoma village, not because of beauty, though she was beautiful in a humble way, but because of her heart. She was the one who helped women with heavy basket at the market. Even when her own arms were sore from fetching firewood, she washed the wounds of children who fell while playing and shared her only meal with beggars who knocked at her gates. Even when her stepmother beat her or called her names, Amaka would say, "It's nothing, at least I am alive." The other girls in the village wore fine clothes and laughed loudly as they walked past her. Some mocked her. "Servant girl, Amaka, maybe your husband will marry you as a cleaner." She would only smile, not because their words didn't hurt, but because she knew arguing would only feed their laughter. When Amaka worked on the farm, her crops always grew faster, greener, and stronger than others. Even in the dry season, her yam tubers were fat and juicy. The elders began to whisper that the earth favored her. "This girl carries her mother's spirit," one of the village women told her friend. "Adoma was the kindest woman we ever knew. The gods must have passed her blessing to her daughter." But Okonkwo didn't see it that way. To him, Amaka was still a curse. The better she did, the angrier he got. "She's pretending," he would say. "All that goodness is a trick. One day she will bring shame to my name." Neka agreed. She hated that people always praise Amaka behind her back. She tried harder to break her spirit, burning her clothes, accusing her of stealing, even once locking her outside in the rain. But Amaka never stopped smiling. One day, she was walking home from the stream when she found an old woman sitting by the road, her leg bleeding from a cut. Without hesitation, Amaka tore a piece of her wrapper and tied the wound gently. The woman looked at her with teary eyes. "You are light in darkness, my child. One day, your kindness will return to you like a morning sun." Amaka bowed and walked on, not knowing that someone had seen everything. A man dressed like a poor farm laborer, standing in shadows, watched her with quiet interest. His name was Obinna, and that single act of kindness would be the seed of something greater than Amaka would imagine. Obinna had arrived Umuoma a week earlier, but no one truly noticed him. He wore old, dusty clothes. His shirt was torn at the collar, and his sandals had holes. To the villagers, he was just another poor man looking for work. But Obinna was not ordinary man. He was the only son of Chief Ezenaya, a powerful businessman who owned farmlands, transportation companies, and estates in the city. But Obinna was not interested in flashy girls who ran after cars or boasted about beauty without humility. He had been disappointed too many times, so he made a secret decision. "I will go into the villages, disguised as a poor man. I will find a woman whose heart is gold, not her earrings." So, Obinna arrived in Umuoma with a sack, a hole, and a humble heart. He offered to weed people's farms, repair leaking roofs, and carry loads for market women for little or no money. At first, the villagers looked at him with pity. "Fine boy, but suffering has finished him," they said. "Maybe he ran from the city wahala," others added. But Obinna didn't care. He was watching, observing, and listening. He wanted to see how people behaved when they thought you had nothing. Then he noticed Amaka. He first saw her at the stream helping the old woman with the injured leg. Something about her calmness struck him. Over the next few days, he watched her from a distance, from behind trees, even from the roof of a house he was fixing. He saw how she rose early morning, how she walked without complaint, how she endured insults from her stepmother, and how she still had time to help others. One evening, he asked a young boy, "Who is that girl?" "That one? That is Amaka. Her papa says she be cursed. Her mama died when they born her. And yes, she's doing everything," the boy answered. "Na so we see am. She dey suffer pass everybody. But e get one thing, her heart good well well." Obinna nodded slowly. That night, under the moonlight, he sat on a wooden bench and thought deeply. This is the kind of woman I want to build a life with. If she can stay kind in suffering, she will overflow in goodness when loved. The next morning, he washed his clothes, straightened his faded shirt, and walked with bold step to Okonkwo's compound. He was about to change Amaka's life forever. The sun had begun to rise, casting a soft gold glow over the trees and farmlands. Amaka, as usual, balanced her calabash on her head, walking towards the stream. The early morning dew kissed her bare feet as birds fly gently. As she knelt to fetch water, she heard footsteps behind her. She turned, startled. It was the stranger. He wore the same dusty shirt, but his face was kind. His eyes didn't carry the usual mockery or pity. He smiled. "I hope I didn't frighten you," Obinna said softly. Amaka stood slowly, water dripping from her fingers. "No, not at all. I have seen you many times," he said, his voice honest. "Walking, helping, smiling, even when you are hurting. What is your name?" She hesitated. Most people only ask her name to insult it, but something about him felt safe. "I am Amaka." He nodded. "A beautiful name." "I am Obinna." There was a pause. The sound of the stream filled the silence. "You don't belong here," he said finally. "You shine too brightly for this kind of darkness." Amaka blinked. No one had ever said anything like that to her. She didn't know what to say, so she bent down to lift her water. "Let me help you," he offered, reaching out. "No," she said quickly, nervous. "I am used to it." Obinna didn't insist. He just walked beside her, carrying nothing, yet lifting something heavier, the loneliness she had carried for years. That day was the beginning of many small conversations. They met near the stream, in the market, on the road. He never crossed the line, never pushed too far, just asked questions, listened, shared laughter. Amaka found herself smiling more, but the village had eyes. Soon, whispers began. Why is that poor farm boy always talking to Amaka? Is she going to marry a beggar now? Her stepmother Neka grew suspicious. Her father Okonkwo didn't care until one afternoon, Obinna knocked on his door. Okonkwo was chewing cola and sipping palm wine when the dusty stranger entered. "What do you want?" he asked sharply. Obinna bowed. "Sir, I have come to ask for your daughter's hand in marriage." The palm wine slipped from Okonkwo's hand. "You want to marry Amaka?" "Yes, sir. She's hardworking, respectful, and kind. I believe she will make a wonderful wife." Okonkwo burst into laughter. It was bitter and cruel. "Take her. In fact, I dash you. Just feed her. Don't even bother about bride price. That one is not worth a single cow." Obinna nodded, calm and respectful. "I will still pay a little, sir, out of honor." Suit yourself, Okonkwo's part. You two will suffer together. Amaka was called outside and told like it was a punishment. You are living with that boy. Go and suffer in peace. She looked at Obinna in confusion. You want to marry me? She whispered. He smiled. Only if you want to be loved. Amaka looked back at the house she suffered in for 20 years. Then she looked forward at the dusty road beside Obinna. She nodded slowly, and with a single bag of clothes and a heart full of hope, she stepped into a new beginning. Watch out for part 2. If you are interested for part 2, put a comment on the comment section. I hope you like this story. See you in part 2 of this story, the concluding part.